Over in the US, incredibly, they've been banning mothers from peacefully and quietly holding up signs during town hall meetings about gun violence. You can bring in guns, but not bits of paper. Indeed, the mums have been getting thrown out by men with guns. Such is the power of the gun lobby in the US, the NRA. Such is the power of money in politics. Down under, earlier this year, we saw the South Australian government shove through the most draconian anti-protest laws of any state yet. They jacked up the maximum fines for peaceful protest by 66 times to 50k and introduced prison sentences. That was because the oil and gas lobby was having its annual shindig at the time. The APIA conference, that's the Australian Petroleum Production and Exploration Association. They call themselves Australian, but they're a front for BP, Shell, Exxon, Origin Energy, Santos, all the foreign major oil producers. It's the mob which touts for these players, which gets in front of politicians, Woodside too, and puts their case for fossil fuels. The most dramatic of these protests was staged by a 69-year-old Mem Thorne who abseiled off a city bridge, causing traffic delays and traffic to be diverted. What a heinous crime that is. That followed the conviction of climate protester Violet Coco in Sydney for blocking one lane of the Sydney Harbour Bridge for 4 hours. For that, she faced a 15-month prison sentence. Although Hollywood star Ryan Gosling was met with fawning adulation by the mainstream media when the bridge had to be closed for 4 hours on a Sunday morning for the filming of a Hollywood action movie. Why the heavy-handed actions by governments against peaceful protesters? Money is why, and lobbyists representing the likes of fossil fuel producers too, those who pay political parties donations. Well, they call them donations, but in fact, they're just payments, tax-deductible protection money, which wins political value. Back in the day when Emily Pankhurst was blocking traffic in London, it was the same deal. Women got to vote eventually, but it was a long haul against vested interests. In the case of the oil and gas lobbyists at APIA, these guys think they are so far above the law they don't even bother to file financial statements, as the law requires. They have not been filing their annual accounts. They used to hide it on the website somewhere. You know, they spend over $10 million a year in those days just to cajole politicians and media. That's what lobbyists do. The whole point is getting in front of politicians and inveigling them. What is it now? Plenty, but we don't know how much, because they went from properly disclosing their accounts to claiming to ASIC, the regulator, they're a small company, to nothing. Zilch. It's a blackout, and nobody is calling them to account. The latest, though, in our epic quest for disclosure from the oil lobby is that ASIC has conceded that it is also in the dark. To quote them, "We are not aware of any reason they, APIA, would not have lodged financial reports," said a spokesperson for the Australian Securities and Investments Commission. It's time for politicians to act. If it's good enough to lock up peaceful protesters, it's good enough to make corporations and fronts for foreign corporations obey the laws of Australia. Thanks for your support. You can like, share, comment below.